Hello everyone. Today's book is called Where Thu'o'ng Keeps Love, and it's written by Thu'o'ng and illustrated by Aloud. And this is a book about a Vietnamese American girl named Thu'o'ng. And there are some Vietnamese words that I may not pronounce correctly. I do try, but please forgive me if I don't pronounce them correctly. And actually, you know what? When I read this book, I wanted to actually start at the very back here. And this section is called Expressions of Love. This book was inspired by my perception of the unique differences in the notion of love between American and Vietnamese cultures. When my daughter was born, I enjoyed reading to her, but try as I did, I wasn't able to find a book that expressed exactly how I feel about love. In American culture, love is often conveyed as an emotion, an affection that is mainly felt. This means people would express and confirm their love by telling one another, "I love you," accompanied by a physical demonstration such as a hug or a kiss. In contrast, love in Vietnamese culture seems more tangible, more physical. Perhaps this is why Vietnamese parents rarely verbalize their love for the children. Instead, it is woven into every hand-sewn pillowcase and served with every steaming bowl of rice. And this may be why Vietnamese children often are just as nonverbal about their love for their parents. Love is expressed in so many ways, and for many Vietnamese, love is often unspoken acts that bring happiness to others. So the author is kind of talking about the differences in culture here, whereas in America culture, we often say, I love you too, and a hug and a kiss. But she's saying in Vietnam and other Asian countries, love is not always spoken, but it is demonstrated in ways. It doesn't mean there isn't love, it just means it is demonstrated in different ways, like meals cooked and all sorts of things that we're going to dive into in this book, Where Thu'o'ng Keeps Love. It's going to kind of demonstrate different ways that they express love to one another, this family. Thu'o'ng has something very special, and she's been looking for the perfect place to keep it safe. I'll ask my friends at school, Thu'o'ng thought to herself. She swung her backpack over one shoulder, threaded both arms to the strap, and stepped out the front door. Walking across the blacktop, Thu'o'ng spotted her friend Nay headed in the same direction towards their classroom. Skipping up to him, Thu'o'ng asked, "Nay, where do you keep your love for your parents?" Nay closed his eyes and thought for a moment. He answered, "I keep it in my head." "In your head?" repeated Thu'o'ng with curiosity. Nay nodded confidently. When I try my best, even when something's hard, and I learn new things, and that makes my parents happy. Mine too, Thu'o'ng thought. So there's one example of showing love. Sitting on the swing next to her friend Lily at recess, Thu'o'ng called out, "Lily, where do you keep your love for your parents?" Lily started swinging higher and higher. "I keep it in my voice," she yelled back. "In your voice?" repeated Thu'o'ng as loudly as she could. Whenever I say, "I love you, Daddy," I know my daddy is happy. Mine too, Thu'o'ng shouted with delight. When Thu'o'ng and Lily arrived at the lunch table, Carlos was using the end of his burrito to count the golden mini samosas Nay had in his container. Usually Thu'o'ng would bring last night's delicious leftovers like fried rice, stir-fried noodles, or sweet rice and chicken, but not today. Today the cafeteria served corn dogs and chocolate milk. Thu'o'ng loved corn dogs, especially with ketchup. So there's different kind of meals. We got burritos and was it samosas and corn dogs. They're all sharing together. Thu'o'ng took a big bite and swallowed. She then asked, Carlos, where do you keep your love for your parents? Carlos wiped his mouth with the back of his hand and said, I keep it in my tummy. In your tummy? Repeated Thu'o'ng with a chuckle. An image of Carlos and his family swimming in a pool of chocolate milk popped into her head. I'm not sure that's exactly what it means. Let's find out what it means. Carlos rubbed his tummy and explained, excuse me, when I eat all the veggies on my dinner plate without complaining, my mom is happy. Mine too, said Thu'o'ng, but I eat my dinner in a bowl, she added. So his parents like it when he eats healthy. So that's one thing he does to show his love for them. The last bell rang. School was over. Walking out of the classroom beside Janisha, Thu'o'ng asked, Janisha, where do you keep your love for your parents? Janisha looked quietly at the ground for a moment. Then she answered, I keep it in my heart. In your heart? Repeated Thu'o'ng softly. Janisha clapped both hands over her heart. Yes, every time we do fun things together, my heart is so happy. Mine too, said Thu'o'ng, remembering the fun her family had walking around the neighborhood just the night before. Something I'm noticing is that our main character, Thu'o'ng, is relating to everybody's answers. She's making the connection. And maybe it's not the exact same thing that they do, but she's saying, yeah, I understand what that feels like. I know what you mean by that. Stepping through the front gates of school, Thu'o'ng spotted Ba waving at her. She broke into a wide grin and skipped towards him. This was her favorite time of day, when she and her dad walked home together hand in hand. As usual, Thu'o'ng began telling Ba about her day. So there's a new word in there, and maybe I'm not saying it just right, but Ba, B-A. And I use context clues to figure out what that word means. Thu'o'ng spotted Ba waving at her, so I'm thinking, who might be picking her up from school? But then I read on, and it said this was her favorite time of day, when she and her dad walk home hand in hand. Well, that just gave us the answer. So sometimes when you come across a new word, the things that you read around it or even a picture can help you figure out what that word might mean. Thu'o'ng noticed how her dad slightly leaned his ear towards her, listening to every word. Oh, I see. Ba keeps his love for me in his ears, she thought to herself. So just kind of demonstrating that you care about what someone's saying is an act of love. Their walk home seemed especially short today. She had only just begun describing the yellow dandelions they picked at recess when Ba pulled the latch open to the door to their backyard. Hi, Thu'o'ng, greeted May, waving her hand. Did anything new happen at school, Ka? Asked Ong as he gestured over to her. Hi, Ong May, Thu'o'ng replied. She hopped over the vegetable plant and gave her grandparents each a hug as she retold the dandelion story. So I bet you could figure out on this page who Ong and May are. They're her grandparents, right? And they're gardening. Ong stepped down to gather a bunch of freshly pulled carrots with bits of dirt still hanging off their root hairs, while May filled the holes that were left behind. Ma is cooking in your favorite tonight, chicken and vegetable stew. These carrots will help make it even sweeter and tastier, May said. Thu'o'ng felt her heart leap with joy. Ong May kept their love for me in the palms of their hand each time they tended our vegetable garden, she thought. Around dinner time, a delicious smell wafted into the living room. Thu'o'ng followed her nose to the kitchen where she found her mom stirring a pot of stew. Ma gently lifted her face above the pot and drew in a deep, slow breath. I think it just needs a little more salt, and then it'll be perfect, exactly how you like it, Ma said with a smile. Thu'o'ng smelled her mom's love rise with each tendril of steam. She smiled back, her heart full of happiness. Ma keeps her love for me in her nose when she cooks our dinner each night, she thought. Yeah, making sure someone has food to eat and food that they love is a way you can show that you care. Thu'o'ng thought about where her friends kept their love for the families and where her family keeps their love for her. A smile spread across her face. Before Thu'o'ng went to bed, she walked up to her parents and expressed her love the best way she knew how, through a game she used to play with her parents when she was learning to speak her first words. Thu'o'ng reached up, tapped her head, then bent down, tapped her toes, saying, and it's written in Vietnamese here, but I'm going to read the English part. Daddy, Mommy, I love you, and I keep my love for you on the top of my head all the way down to the tip of my toes. Thu'o'ng's parents smiled. Holding her tightly, they said, and there's the Vietnamese, we also love you, honey, and we keep our love for you on the top of our heads all the way down to the tip of our toes. That night, Thu'o'ng went to bed very happy. She had found the perfect place to keep her very special something safe and sound, always and forever. What do you think that something special was? I'll give you a hint. It's not something she could hold with her hand. Remember what she was asking everybody? She said, where do you keep your love? At the end, she decided, she said, I know the perfect place to keep something very special and safe and sound. She knows where to keep her love for her family, in her heart and in the things that she does. For her whole body. So we did read this page, and then there's some of the Vietnamese words used in the book. And here is a little note from the author, who is also a teacher. And then here is a song you could sing called I Love My Mom, or you could change it to I Love My Dad. And here's the Vietnamese version and the English version. Well, I thought, what a lovely book, because even if you do come from a family that says, I love you verbally, we can still say it in other ways. You can say that you care and love for somebody in so many different ways, and it's important that we do share our love for one another, and we show that we care about one another. I want you to think for a minute, where do you keep your love for your family? I can think of one thing that I do. I keep it in my hands. One thing I do to show my love for my family is to help them around their household, my elderly parents. I wash the dishes, I help clean up around their home, and that is one way I can show that I care about you and I want you to have a home that's clean, and I want to help you keep it clean. So I want you to think about one thing you do, or one thing you might want to try to show your love for your family or friends. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for reading with me. Love you, and see you soon.